Okay, so let's look at gas chromatography. Kita akan bincangkan dua lah, GC dengan HPLC. So for gas chromatography, name of GC method, we can have gas solid chromatography, gas liquid chromatography, and bonded phase chromatography. So the things here for gas chromatography, of course, the mobile phase is gas. Okay, and then your stationary phase depends on the name here, the method here. If gas solid chromatography, your stationary phase is solid, underivatized support. Okay, but with your stationary phase is liquid, gas liquid chromatography, you have a liquid coated support on the stationary phase as the stationary phase. For bonded phase chromatography, your stationary phase is chemically derivatized support. Okay, so the difference is on the stationary phase. Okay, so this is the diagram of gas chromatography. What you have here, we have the carrier gas. So carrier gas is the mobile phase. Okay, so your carrier gas is the mobile phase. So why the name is carrier gas? We can call mobile phase as carrier gas. Why? Because in GC, your mobile phase only carry your analytes. It carry your analytes, and it does not interact with the analyte. It must be inert. Dia tak interact, dia cuma bawa aje. Tapi kalau dalam LC, dia interact. Ada difference lah. Okay, and then we have flow controller. Sebab kita tahu kan tadi, before we have learned that the flow rate of the mobile phase will affect greatly, okay, on the Brembo burning. So sama ada kita punya C term ataupun B term, kita punya diffusion dengan mass transfer tu is highly affected by flow rate. So that is why we have to have flow controller to control the flow rate so that you will get optimum flow rate. And then we are going to have injector port here. So what is the function of injector port? Of course, to inject our sample. So here our sample will be injected. So what happen if the sample injected is too much? There will be overloading. Bila overloading, dia akan jadi fronting. Yang kita tengok tadi lah, general elution. Okay, so once the sample goes in here, okay, so the mobile phase will carry the sample, will carry your analyte, okay, and it will go through the column. So inside the column, we have stationary phase. So we have stationary phase inside the column. What will happen? So your sample tadi akan interact with the stationary phase here based on light dissolve light principle. So if your stationary phase is polar stationary phase, example. So your sample ada polar, non-polar. So non-polar will come out first, eluted first, because it has less interaction, less retention, but polar will be eluted later. So the partition happens here based on the polarity, like dissolved light, and also based on boiling point. Kalau GC sebab dia gas, based on boiling point yang rendah akan keluar dululah kalau polarity dia sama. Then once partition or suppression happens here, it will be eluted and it will be detected here by the detector here. And then the detector, okay, will give the response or the signal to the recorder to record the signals. Then you are going to get the signals here. So this is chromatograms. So what is chromatograms? You are going to get a series of peaks. Depends on your mixture. If you have 3 analytes in the sample mixture, then you are going to have 3 peaks. And the small peaks lah, the dead time. Okay, and liquid chromatography on the other hand, okay, we have 4 types of we have 5 types of liquid chromatography. We have adsorption liquid chromatography, partition, ion exchange, size exclusion, and also affinity chromatography. Okay, so liquid chromatography, the mobile phase is liquid. Okay, so in adsorption chromatography, your stationary phase is solid underivatized support. So there will be adsorption. But partition chromatography, liquid is coated or derivatized on the solid support on the stationary phase. And for partition chromatography kita ada dua pula lah. So normal phase dengan reverse phase. Ion exchange, your stationary phase is made up from resin containing fixed charges. It is made up from resin. So contohnya kalau kita nak tukar charge positive, exchange charge positive, so your resin must be negative. Supaya positif tadi lekat dekat sini, ion exchange. Kita nak tukar kan. So normally for ion exchange we use it in, for example, water filter, so that you can filter out all the metals, yang keluar cuma air yang bersih. And then we have size exclusion chromatography. We use it for sample that is high molecular weight, yang besar. So high molecular weight or different size and different shape, so that it can be excluded or separated based on the porous support. So we are going to have porous support with different size. So dia macam kita kita filter lah. Kita filter and then dia kan ada lubang-lubang, so the pores there, so the pores will have different size. So the one yang according to the size lah. Kalau smaller size dia akan jatuh bawah. Kalau besar it will be elite first. Dia akan retain dekat atas. But kalau the size is similar with the porous support, so dia akan masuk elok dekat the pores there. And for affinity chromatography, the stationary phase is support with the immobilized ligand. So ini kita letak ni sangatlah. Okay, so this is injection here. This is flow. Okay, so there will be separation. Then you're going to get chromatograms here. Okay, so this is component 1, component 2, component 3. So component 3 and 4 is not well separated. So kalau kita tengok kat sini, it is not well separated. So kita kena ubah lah dia punya apa orang begitu kat dalam tu supaya kita dapat a good separation. Okay, so is if we look at this sample, the compound 3 and 4, the resolution will be, I can see that it is less than 1. Okay, so remember the best resolution is 1.5. That one is ideal. So it will be completely separated like this. Okay, and kalau tak dapat macam ni pun, kalau dapat satu pun okay lah. Okay, but for sure this one is lesser than 1. It is not completely separated. So this is different types of liquid chromatography. Awak kena tahulah ya, bila nak pakai which types of liquid chromatography, bila nak pakai benda ni. Okay, so for absorption chromatography, there are different types of liquid chromatography. The stationary phase is solid that attracts the solute because it is based on adsorption. So mesti ada adsorbent lah. Adsorption and detract. So your stationary phase solid, they will attract the solute. Mobile phase can be liquid or gas. So how it happens? So solute will move at different rates according to the process of attraction to the stationary phase. Tengok adsorption dia macam mana, tinggi ataupun rendah. It is normally based on physiosorption lah. Different physiochemical properties. Okay. Partition chromatography. This is the most widely used liquid chromatography types. Okay. Thin film or liquid form on the surface of a solid inert support. Your mobile phase can be liquid or gas. Okay, so you have to correct this one. You have to correct this one. This is wrong. Okay, so the mobile phase can only be gas. It cannot be liquid. It can only be liquid. It cannot be gas. Why? Because this is liquid chromatography. Salah ni, dia salah dia punya apa? Solute moves at different rates according to the forces of attraction to the stationary phase. For partition, thin film, this is the most widely used. Liquid chromatography. Okay, so the stationary phase is thin film or liquid forms on the support, on the solid inert support. Your mobile phase, of course, liquid. So the solute will equilibrate between two phases according to the partition coefficient. So this one is according to the polarity. Okay, so both your mobile phase and your stationary phase will interact with your analytes. Kalau dalam GC, your mobile phase gas, dia cuma carry je. Analyte tu dia tak interact. But here, in partition chromatography, it will interact. So your analyte, the analyte will choose. Okay, we choose based on the attraction and based on the polarity. Okay. So the third one is ion exchange chromatography. The stationary phase is solid resin that carries fixed ion and mobile contact ions of opposite charge attached by the covalent bond. Okay, so as I already told you earlier, the ion exchange. Ion exchange maksudnya apa? Kita nak exchange the ion. Okay, for example, contohnya dalam air ada kalsium ke, ada sodium ke. Kita nak buang benda ni. Kita just nak pure water, H2O. So, we need to have resin. So, since kita nak cation metals are cation ions, right? So, kita kena guna resin that is opposite charge. So, resin kita mesti negatif. Resin ni stationary phase lah. So that your analyte tadi, cation ions tadi akan lekat dekat sini. Because it must be oppositely charged. Then it will be attracted. Bila lekat dekat sini baru kita masukkan your mobile phase. So mobile phase tadi liquid containing electrolytes. So dia akan masuk, dia akan exchange dengan yang ni. So contohnya masuk potassium ke semua ke, ataupun masuk H, dia akan exchange dengan ni. So yang ni keluar. Sodium yang kita tak nak tadi boleh keluar. Okay, so mobile phase ion tadi akan lekat dekat sini. Sebab tu nama dia ion exchange. Kita tukar ion tadi. So, solid ions of charge opposite to the fixed ions are attracted to the resin by electrostatic forces and replace the mobile counter ions. Dia akan replace lah. And then, for molecular exclusion chromatography, we have porous gel with no attractive action on solute molecules. So, the pores, we are going to have different size pores. Mobile phase is liquid. So the molecules will get separated according to the size. The smaller molecules will enter the pores of the gel and need a larger volume of eluent. However, the larger molecule will pass through the column at a faster rate. So larger molecule dia tak masuk. Dia terus eluted first. So the largest molecule will be eluted first. Yang kedua yang masuk dalam pores. Okay, yang masuk retain, maksud cukup-cukup je size dia. And yang paling lambat keluar, yang paling kecil lah. Okay, and lastly, affinity chromatography. The stationary phase is solid on which specific molecules are immobilized. And your mobile phase is liquid. So special kinds of solute molecules will interact with those immobilized on the stationary phase. So when you have your what we call that analytes here, okay, solid molecules tadi, so dia ada affinity towards the immobilized stationary phase, so dia akan lekat dekat situ belakang retention. Then your liquid your liquid mobile phase akan tarik, baru dia akan keluar. It will be eluted. So there is the mechanisms of separations in different types of liquid chromatography. So kita kena tahulah adsorption apa, partition apa, and exchange apa, and all this.